Guy wants change for a $100 bill and tries it with the newest cashier. He didn't like what he got back.
This is from a couple of years ago when I was in college and I worked at a convenience store. The rule was that you only take a $100 bill when someone gasses up for at least $50 or buys for at least $50, as a register only had $10 in change and getting larger amounts out of the time safe could take 20 minutes. I was talking to the manager about the graveyard shift I was about to finish when this new cashier came with a $100 bill and said she needed $98 in change. Since she already took the money, she wasn't allowed to give it back as that was a rule. The manager was about to give her 20s and 10s when I asked to get the 100 stacks of ones. When the girl walked back to the register and I was right behind her, the guy already changed his smile. His face really started to change when I was counting out $98 in $1 bills and the girls behind me just watch his smile going away. She wasn't to blame as she was new. He was to blame and he wasn't very happy when I was finished. I also reminded him and her about the policy of at least buying items for $50 in order to get change for a $100. I still don't know why people get cash in $100 bills when they know most stores can't give change. Edit. The store had signs stating that you have to spend a certain dollar amount in order to break 50s and 100s. The sign also stated that the timed safe can only give out a small amount of change every 5 minutes.
Old woman acts very rude, surprisingly apologizes when confronted about her behavior.
I work for a big-name department store. I served an old woman with a large order. I ask her if it's all one transaction, which she responds, very rudely, "What kind of question is that? Do you see another person with me?" At this point, I'm cringing because I know this isn't going to be an easy transaction. She tries to pass me her bags, but I'm not allowed to pack them, so I place all her items on the end. She starts yelling and screaming about how lazy I am, calls me the worst cashier in the world, adds some rather personal insults. Eventually, I look at her and say, "Look, I'm just following the rules of my job. I'm not allowed to deviate from them in any way. There's no reason to get personal. Please, leave me alone." She seems pretty humiliated after that and simply responds with, "Okay," and remains silent until the transaction is complete, when she apologizes for her behavior and admits that she was in a bad mood and shouldn't have taken it out on me. I'm not sure if she was actually sorry or just embarrassed that I called her out, but I genuinely wish more rude customers would apologize like she did.
Lady picks on new guy for double scanning items. Upon inspection, he actually missed an item and then her total went up.
We have this one regular who likes to pick on new team members. She goes through the newest cashier if she can, and always raises a stink until the manager, me, comes by to demolish her. She always leaves grumpy, so why does she keep shopping here? Who freaking knows? So she goes through Jay's till today. He has been here for 2 weeks and is 1 week fresh on the register. He's doing great and so far has made every effort to understand the register, and he's been pretty independent. He scans through her items, asks about the club card, offers a bag, and announces her total. She then scoffs and says, "How can it be that much?" Jay then jovially tells her that items can add up when you're in the zone, and repeats her total. She insists he scanned something twice, and not quite having faced a customer like this before, he calls me over for backup. After listening to her claim, I dutifully check each item's tag with the register's item list to satisfy her paranoid claim, all the while explaining to Jay how to handle a double-scanned item. Wow, what a surprise! "Ma'am, nothing was scanned twice, however it looks like Jay missed an item while scanning. Your new total is up by $15. Cash or card?" This woman stared at Jay and I for at least 5 full silent seconds before she started apologizing and saying her English was bad and she didn't understand what we were saying. I explained what happened a couple different ways, ensuring there was no conflict of communication, and each time repeated her heightened total. Eventually she gave up, and paid the higher amount. She sulked on out of the store, claiming we always do this crap with her. Sorry lady, idiot tax is real. P.S. I did discuss with Jay to be a little more careful and steady at cash going forward, to make sure he doesn't miss any more items, just in case this has been a recurring problem and not a one-off. I have high hopes for him going forward.
Customer annoyed by music playing in the store. I throw logic at her.
I remembered this story when I was working my first retail job. The store was a large corporate store. They would have the store radio tuned into the local radio station. This station would play the same tracks of music every day. Basically, you'd hear the songs, and by midday, you'd hear the first song in the morning, and the whole thing would repeat. It drove me up the wall. I hated a lot of the music. It annoyed me as much as hearing the Let It Go song when it was a big thing. While I was working, I had a woman come up to me, very annoyed. She was just bashing the music, saying how it was terrible music, and she should take her shopping somewhere else. I looked at her and said, "It is terrible music, I agree. But at least you can leave the store anytime you want. I'm stuck listening to this the whole day." She said nothing. She looked at me in silence for a moment, before turning and walking away.
I calculated it myself so the register is wrong.
First post, so I hope I'm doing it right. English is not my native language. So earlier this year I started working in a local grocery store, so when this story happened I was still fairly new to everything and I wasn't wearing a headset at the time, so if something were to happen I'd have to ask a colleague to call someone. Also we have extra screens that show the customers the items that are scanned and their total, and the registers are shared by two people facing away from each other. I already knew the lady this story is about, because the first time she was at my register she snatched the receipt out of my hand telling me to just put it down. So when I saw her in the line to my register again I knew I had to make everything perfect. She comes up and I start scanning her items. On a side note, she bought 100 cans of cat food haha and some other stuff, and I tell her the total. She looks at the screen, then looks at me and says that it can't be because she calculated it and the register is wrong. She then proceeds to recalculate the items in her head, probs to her I couldn't do this, and tells me the total she comes up with, which is about €4 less. I'm kinda lost since, if the register tells me the price I can't change anything about it. In comes the manager of the evening who backs me up, after checking if I did everything right. The lady still says it can't be and recalculates at least 3 more times. Asking for the manager, not knowing she is already there, the asking for someone higher up. It was late, the manager was the highest person in the store. In between she tells us she is going to take the receipt with her and she wants to have it. Me and the manager tell her she can have the receipt but she has to pay first. She actually took so much time with complaining and recalculating and everything, that another customer in line offered to pay the difference. She finally decides to pay, once again snatching the receipt out of my hand, and she leaves. That was already a wild ride for me because she was the first really rude customer I had, but it happens, I know that now. But the story doesn't end here, because the next time I work she comes up to my register from the outside of the store. She wasn't shopping and came directly to me. I was scanning another customer's items and told her to wait, and I was already looking for a way to get someone to help me if she gets rude again, since I wasn't wearing a headphone thing and I was alone in the register both. But I got a really pleasant surprise because she came up to apologize to me, that in fact she calculated wrong and the register was right, and then she proceeds to tell me her life story, which I cut short. Other customers were waiting. And now every time I work and she is in the store she comes to my register and is actually rather nice now. Edit. Wow, I am kind of overwhelmed with all the comments haha. Also, how do awards work? For clarification, tax is already included in the prices here. I'm sorry if I haven't replied to your comments, but I read them all.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.